Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm gonna tell you today how this saw right here changed my life. Gonna give you a little bit of a background on how I got into this makerspace and how I turned my woodworking hobby into a profitable thing. Not necessarily a business at that time, but I figured I wanted to do some woodworking and I figured, hey, why not make this thing pay for itself? I'm gonna tell you that story in this video here. And yeah, this was the catalyst. So let's get right into it. Okay, so let me just dive right into this and tell you how I got into this woodworking space. I'm gonna tell you a brief story. I'm gonna show you some slides, some pictures of some things that I've made over the years and I've sold over the years, and to tell you how I got into this. Okay, so ready? Let's dive right in. I'm gonna do this video in one take. At least I'm gonna try to, no jump cuts. So forgive me if there's some ums and uhs here or there. All right, let's get right into it. So 2007, I went to a friend of mine's house. Quite frankly, I think it was a friend of a friend. I don't really remember this gentleman's name. But either way, we were at this little get together and there was about 30 people and there was a game going on in the backyard. And those of you in the South have heard of it, it's called cornhole. If you haven't heard of cornhole, some people call it beanbag toss. But essentially, it's made up of two boards that are angled. I'm not sure what the angle is, quite frankly. I know that the top of the board is raised up roughly around 12 inches, and there's a 6-inch diameter hole, 12 inches down. In the middle, the boards are 2 feet by 4 feet wide. Anyway, it's a pretty cool game, and you have 4 bags and you toss them. There's a whole scoring system. You can look it up. All right. But I realized how much fun it was, and I thought, I'm gonna get home, I'm gonna make this myself. So I looked at the boards and I realized, well, I need to go out and I need to go buy that. I need to get a circular saw because to save a little bit of money, I was gonna make 2 sets, one for myself, the one I still have. I'm not even sure, maybe I'll show you a picture of it. And then I built another one I was gonna sell online on Facebook. So I figured, why not? Let's try it. So we bought some plywood and some 2x4s, and I threw this whole thing together and actually sold this one right here. This is a Tampa Bay Buccaneer style cornhole board that I made back, I don't even know, back maybe 2007, 2008, around then. And I figured to myself, if I'm gonna do this, if I'm really gonna enjoy this hobby, I wanna do things that are gonna help pay for itself. Because woodworking can be fairly expensive. So I did that. I ended up learning how to sew because I wanted to make bags to go along with these boards. And I sold quite a few of them over the next few months. And that being said, I was able to save up enough money for a miter saw, okay? A chop saw, a rigid chop saw from Home Depot is what I got. After that, I thought, you know, I can do this. I can do straight cuts with a straight edge and I can do chop cuts with the chop saw. And I started taking on a few more projects. One of which was pretty ambitious. I'm gonna show it to you here. I did this with these simple tools and of course a drill. This was a built-in for a kid's room. This was a really challenging project. There was also a stage that was curved that was pretty challenging as well. Long story short, I ended up doing it with the chop saw, chopping pieces of 1/2-inch plywood over and over at these little slight angles, little 2 and 3 degree angles, I believe, to kind of make that curvature. And then of course I put a drawer in the middle. And that was a stage that was adjacent to the playroom's media center and storage area. So that was a really interesting project. It took me about 6 days to do, along with painting it, and it was pretty profitable in terms of, I believe I'm trying to think, it was either $5,500 or $6,000 that family afforded me to be able to do that. So I think it was around $750 in materials, along with some old plank flooring that the stage was made out of. So I profited pretty well from that. And then from there, I bought a table saw and a joiner, and I figured, you know, why not get into this? So I did. And over the course of the next few months after that, we're probably around 2008, 2009, I built another entertainment center for another family. And I'll show you pictures of that there as well. This entertainment center was stained kind of like a red mahogany color. Again, all sanded plywood. And this was bordered. I did some edge banding along these doors with some ash. I remember I picked that up from Lowe's one day and thought, this will work. So, but with the table saw, I was able to make my own edge banding. And I ended up putting that together in another week's time. I used another week's vacation, and that one wasn't so profitable. I knew the guy pretty well, so he didn't charge me a whole lot. I kind of gave him a deal, but that was around a $3,500 job as well. So there we are. We've made almost about $10,000 so far in this woodworking space, and I haven't really had to pay for anything out of my own pocket except for that saw right there. All right, no joke. And then I got into this really strange business of making dog bowls, okay? So a friend of mine's father ran a CNC machine downtown in Jacksonville, and we were able to go down there. I bought some plywood, and I had a bunch of these dog bowls cut out. I'll show you pictures of them here. And then I spent time sanding, routing, and making the bases for them. I ordered some stainless steel bowls online, and I was very lucky. I got in touch with my dog groomer, and she allowed me to put a display in her shop. And I didn't sell a whole lot from there, but what I did get was a lot of business, people wanting to customize theirs, of course, with different names. Came up with some ideas. This one lady, she had these two dogs that would not eat well together. They had to eat on opposite sides of the room, but they wanted something aesthetically pleasing. So I came up with some rare earth magnets to separate the bowls, as you're gonna see there in that picture. And that was how these dogs were able to eat separately. But when everything was all said and done, the bowl was able to kind of connect back. And I thought that was a pretty cool idea. Along with various, firefighting dogs, there was a couple themes we've done here, as well as the fire hydrant for the water bowl. That was a pretty cool idea. All that was done on a CNC, but then I had to come home and sand it all. And I sold roughly, good Lord, over the past, from then, for 2 years, I think I sold around 70 to 75 dog bowls, anywhere from $35 to $85 a pop. So there you go. That is how it worked. I was able to get more tools and more paraphernalia for this woodworking stuff because I was able to do things really not for myself. I was building things to build not only my skill set, but I was also building things for people and building a reputation on Facebook and in my little local community that, hey, this guy, he makes stuff, why don't you contact him? And in my spare time, I was able to do it. I had a lot more spare time then because at that point, I didn't have kids. We have 3 beautiful children now, as you might know, which takes up quite a bit more time. But in that space, I was able to devote a lot of my time to this, and I was really glad I did. All right, so fast forward, okay? I did that. I was able to get a pretty decent shop in a 1-car garage. Actually, let me show you this. This picture here is the first house that I bought back when I was about 24. And that 1-car garage, I don't have many pictures of it because, again, some of this happened before smartphones. I know 2007 the iPhone came out, and I did have one, but the iCloud system wasn't nearly as comprehensive as it is now. So I don't have a lot of photos from back in the early days. But sure enough, here we are. I'm in the home I'm in now. All right, fast forward to 2013. And I have a good amount of tools. I have a table saw, I've got a joiner planer, I've got some stuff I was able to afford by, doing things for other people. And a friend of mine named Adam, he ended up saying, hey, can you build me a farm table? Are you still building things? I said, we had our daughter, and she was only about 6 months old at the time. I said, I can get back into this. Instead of, really kind of going at it and doing a whole bunch of projects for people, I wanted to do this for him. At the time, I'll divulge a little bit of information to you. My wife, my beautiful, lovely wife, let's say, how long we've been married? About 6 years ago, on the way back from our honeymoon in Jamaica, she passed out on the plane. Pretty scary moment. We ended up living at the Mayo Clinic for about 3 or 4 months after that, trying to figure out what was going on. She was just chronically fatigued and a bunch of joint pain and just malaise and just it was crazy. And quite frankly, we've got some diagnosis on a couple things, but honestly, we're still trying to figure it all out. And every once in a while, she has these bouts of fatigue. And to be quite honest with you, during one of those bouts, she was like, honey, I'm not sure how long I'm going to be able to do my career as a hairdresser. Aren't the guys you watching on YouTube making some money? And I said, yeah, I believe so. I mean, I was watching YouTube, and I was only watching Jimmy DiResta and Bob Claggett at the time. And I said, that's a pipe dream. I don't have a DSLR. I don't have a Mac. I don't have the right amount of equipment or a high-end PC to do this in the editing, and oh my goodness. So she said, just do it. Please, just do it. Because fact of the matter is that if I was going to get in this space, I could film on my phone, at least for the initial bringing of this. So that being said, sorry, I just had to make sure I was still running. That being said, I did. So I filmed everything on an iPhone 7, and I edited the video on a app called Video Shop. And truth be told, I've upgraded the phone to an 11 Pro Max at this point, but I still edit with the same software. I still run this YouTube channel, and here we are around 81,000 subscribers. I still run this YouTube channel through a phone and editing software on the phone. I even launched the video to YouTube from the phone. All right, but back up. So I did this table. I edited the video for about 3 months. It took me a while, and I launched it. And I reached out to a few people, Jimmy being one of them, just kind of asking him, emailing him just to take a look at it. And he did, and he gave me some feedback, said it pretty good for a first video. But anyway, that video did pretty well, and it's one of the more popular videos on the channel. So just a farm table, and it was one of my first true pieces of content that I put on YouTube. And at that point, I kind of got hooked because some of the comments came in, and sure enough, the subscribers would come in 2 a day, 1 a day, 4 a day. Comments would come in maybe 3 times a week. It was actually pretty interesting to hear some of these really nice people say nice things about what I put out in the world. And I figured, let's just try it again. So second video I produced was a window cabinet. Good Lord, I look back on these videos and it just makes me laugh. But that video didn't do so well, of course, and I got a little bummed out, but I figured if this was gonna be my reality, if I was gonna start this family and work for Publix, and that's a supermarket down here in the South, and be a manager for them, and if my wife was gonna not really get too much better, not be able to have a career like she wanted to, and just kind of be home with the kids, then this is something I needed to try to do. And I'm so grateful I did. And at this point, I very rarely take on commission pieces. Because what I'm doing now is I'm trying to make videos. The videos are the content. Now, this was my abridged version of a YouTube journey, of a maker's journey. I never thought it would end up being something that I would put online like this, or be a presence to a camera. I never in a million years thought that would happen. But it's been one of the, aside from starting a family and having children, it has been the most fulfilling thing that I think that I've done in my life. And honestly, I owe it to the people behind, or actually in front, behind this camera, to you guys. You guys have really pushed me and given me some awesome feedback and really awesome words of encouragement. So I just want to say thank you for that. And also, I started this channel because I thought it was a pipe dream that it might help us. And Lord willing, it does, and it really does help us. And I can't be more thankful to you, the audience. I love my audience. I love you guys, and I want to just tell you this little story about how I kind of got into this. And I really appreciate you being here and giving me your time. Again, like I said, my name is Chris, and I always try to what I call give you a glimpse inside kind of my thought process and what I do here in this makerspace. And so far, it's been a really fun journey, about 3.5 years, and I continue to do this. I will continue to do this until the cows come home, Lord willing. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for listening. And to show you that all you need is about 40 bucks. I think they cost a little bit more now. But go get yourself a circular saw and you can figure it out, I promise. That's all you need. And you can turn this hobby into something really worthwhile. All right, that's it. Enough rambling. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll see you on that next video. Y'all take care.